Oh, Gypsy, there goes half of your audience. All right, you guys know how I do. I like to get the information out there and I will comment on it after. This is for anyone that hasn't read Gypsy's new prologue and My Time to Stand. And I'm probably going to be biting my tongue off this entire time. Here we go.
My time to stumble. It's my time now.
I thought freedom meant walking tall. Turns out it's learning how not to trip over yourself. 2 years ago, while in prison, I dropped whatever I was doing at 2 o'clock sharp. If I was mopping during my janitorial duties, I'd put the mop back in the bucket. On the phone with Christy, I'd hang up. I'd turn the TV off a few minutes early, knowing I had to be standing at my cell waiting to be counted. Now, just 2 years later, 2 p.m. signals my daughter's second nap. These days, I'm the one doing this counting, feedings, naps, diapers, still accountable, but in a completely different way. It took me a while to shake the feeling of my body's impulse to stop cold, waiting for a roll call that would never come. These days, that reflex is finally fading. For years, that anxious pull ran through me like clockwork, an alarm I couldn't turn off, a reminder that my time wasn't mine. Even after I left prison, my internal clock carried the schedule with me, in opposition to reality. I can be wherever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. My lifelong wiring was set for confinements. Now the haywiring of freedom was setting in. Freedom, that was the word I clung to for years. All I thought about was being released, never once stopping to ask, released into what? I explored and journaled some of my big plans in my ebook, but looking back, I was so naive to think I could step right into the rhythm of life as if I had cadence to begin with. I had never learned to walk in step with the world. While others marched forward along a clear path, I was off beat. Stumbling aimlessly, unsure even which direction the parade was heading. But actually, when my parole ended June 25th, and I was for the first time in my life fully free, no guards, no conditions, no one checking where I slept or who I spoke to, I didn't feel what I thought I would. No elation, no great release. It's because you're a psychopath. Instead, it felt like stepping into another kind of confinement, a bigger cage, invisible this time, but not built of bars, but of eyes watching, judging, waiting for me to stumble. In fact, the book you hold could just as easily have been titled My Time to Stumble. I was unaware of how much stumbling I would do and still do. Don't get me wrong, I know I put myself in situations to be stared at. Looking back, I regret how carried away I got by global attention, or maybe just how easily I let myself be carried away. Okay, here we go. We get honorable mention and more analogies. My haters would say I grew up on attention, craved it, and was built to thrive on it. Even if that were true, the kind of attention I was used to as a child was a townie editor doing a feature in a weekly paper, not red carpets and free swag. I didn't exactly make the best first impressions, and that was only in week one. I had zero time to mourn the loss of a friend group I had cherished for 8 years. I took no beats to internalize and process that I was married on the outside of the walls, that I kept my illusion of romantic partnership intact. And when it came to the free world, I was now considered a part of the lands I was visiting were fake. Technicolor because my freedom was superficial. Parole meant rules to follow, and the threat of breaking them would put me right back in jail. The public knew what these no-nos were and watched with delight, salivating at the thought that I would soon break them. The rules: no drinking, no leaving town, no living with anyone I wasn't legally tethered to, no talking about Nick. How do you feel about your co-conspirator? The question was fired at me constantly. Reporters would warm me up with small talk before going in for the real one, a question I didn't blame them for asking, and one I knew they knew I was gagged from answering. Yeah, whatever. But gagging the answer also meant gagging my truth. How was I supposed to speak my truth when I wasn't allowed to talk about the person who played such a huge role in the crime itself? I just realized that it is now writing this prologue that really has become my time to stand because I can finally answer this question. For the first time, I want to say how I feel about Nick. My feelings towards Nick have shifted over the years, just like with my mom. The emotions are complicated. He's still in prison for something I was responsible for facilitating. That's an interesting word here, Jip Jip. When I was first arrested, I believed he was my ride or die. We imagined we'd get through it together and still come out lovebirds. But once our attorneys separated our cases, I started to see things differently. The legal process turned everything into compartments. He said, she said, survival of the fittest, defend yourself first. Early on, I wrestled with whether to contact him. When I first went to prison, I asked a friend if it would be wise to write him. I felt a heavy weight, so much unsaid, even an apology I wanted off my chest. But ultimately, I decided no, not then, maybe one day when he was in prison and I'd had more time to reflect. You see what she's doing here, y'all? Come on, read between the lines. During my time inside, I took ICOV, a program that forced me to really look at my actions. Now, I triple checked you guys that she put ICOV. It's ICVC. You can see it on there up top, unless there's another program that I'm unaware of. That's weird that it's misspelled. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. It was eye-opening. I began to take full accountability for my role in everything. I started to see the dynamic clearly. I was the cause, he was the effect. He wasn't just a perpetrator, he was also a victim of me. I felt a deep responsibility and sympathy for bringing him into this awful, tragic situation. That's when I made the drawing that's included in this book. I reached out to his attorney and testified at his trial as a defense witness. It was the only thing I could do to turn those heavy feelings into action. By then, I was with Ken, and any romantic feelings for Nick were long gone. My dad said something that stuck with me. If you ever bring him back into your life, I could forgive a lot, but not that. That would be a conscious choice to let an unhealthy person back in. I'll love you, but I won't stand for it. Faced with a choice between rebuilding a relationship with my dad, a relationship I was experiencing full for the first time, and any connection to Nick, I chose my dad. While I was in prison, I'd occasionally receive emails from women inmates who were dating Nick virtually through the prison email system. Some reached out to me saying things like, "We are so sorry we judged you, but he treated us exactly the way he treated you." Word for word. They described the same emotional abuse, the same patterns. It was painful, but it also validated what I had experienced. I wasn't crazy. I've accepted that I manipulated someone in the name of what I believed was love, but it was really desperation to escape. And Nick has shown ongoing, unhealthy behavior that makes me question whether he should be free without serious treatment. Prison is like an adult babysitter on steroids. It contains, but it doesn't heal. If he's ever to re-enter society safely, I believe he needs to be in a facility equipped to deal with dissociative and borderline personality disorders. What frustrates me is the way social media has rewritten his story. They've turned him into a poor, innocent, autistic boy, erasing his responsibility and the reality of what happened. That narrative irks my soul. It erases nuance. The truth is, he's a disturbed individual. Separately, neither of us was dangerous, but together, like fire and gasoline, we were destructive. Speaking openly about this brings me relief. It's been pent up for so long, and it might not be what the haters want to hear. Some people want me to say he deserves to be free and that I should still be behind bars. The truth is, if I had spent my entire life in prison, that would have been legally fair, but the justice system showed me mercy. I don't want to spend the rest of my life apologizing for that. The justice system gave me grace. The public refuses to. They feed off the opposite. When Mommy Dead and Dearest debuted, People could view a documentary based on facts, but when the act came out, I stopped being a person and became a character. Social media ran with it. People dove deeper, chasing theories and gossip. Every new video, every take from a content creator added fuel to the fire, often at the expense of the truth. They fed the beast. As for Nick, my feelings are ambivalent. I don't love him. Over the past 2 years, therapy has helped me forgive myself and let go of a lot of guilt. What I did was wrong. I take responsibility for bringing him into that situation, but I can't keep treating myself the way the public treats me. These days, the best part of my day is the quiet evening. The housework is done, Ken's home from work, and I'm holding Aurora as she gets sleepy with her bottle. It's those moments, real simple, like a black and white movie, that grounds me. Stepping into a role of a public figure has been complicated. Honestly, no social media at all would have been better for my mental health. But here I am, navigating the beauties and breakdowns of everyday life in a house with things that constantly need fixing, writing this prologue as someone both public and deeply private, still learning how to stand on my own, embracing the stumble. So that is the entire prologue. I have a whole lot to say about this, but you're going to have to wait for the next video. As always, thank you for watching. Please like, follow, reshare, and comment to keep this conversation going because not everybody has heard this prologue yet.